is up, guys? Let's get to it. So today I will be running you guys through every single occult scroll in the game. Obviously except curse scrolls because, well, they're all garbage, let's be honest. No one wants that garbage. I do have a little surprise for you guys at the end of the video, so make sure you stay tuned for that. It'll change your life. And if you think I'm wrong, well, okay. Now, let's start at the D tier, which I have got right here. Let's do that. Now, in these rankings, they're S, A, B, C, D. In the actual chart itself, it's not in any particular order. So, for example, if you follow my mouse over here, we've got these guys all lined up. They're not in any order. They're just that tier, okay? So, now that we know that, let's get started. First up, we have No Retreat. Now, No Retreat, you do 50% increased weapon damage when you have no grenades. Now, you would think, hey, that's pretty good. That shouldn't be D tier. No, you're wrong. The problem with that is, every time you're killing an enemy, the chances of you not getting a grenade are very low. Nearly all enemies will drop you grenades, especially in boss fights, which means you're just holding onto a scroll and not getting the benefit of it. So, the item by itself, not very good. Next up, we have Against the Flow. So, pretty much when you're shooting an enemy, for the next 4 seconds, you'll regen 10% of your max ammo. The problem is, you also lose 1 ammo a second when you're not shooting enemies. Now, in saying that, if you think about it, every time you're clearing, right, when you're going for your chest, when you're going through the peddler, when you're going through the craftsman, all those things, you're just losing ammo. So, the degeneration compared to how much you actually regenerate is not actually worth it, just because you lose so much, especially if you're using things like, you know, the prism and the golden bow. But the item by itself, D tier. Next up, we have Thorny Carpace. So, the reason I put it in D tier is it does 400 damage. Now, if you think about it, 400 damage is not that much. If you go to the 3rd stage on the 1st level, you're doing a 1/3 of the enemy's health, right? By the time they've hit you once, they're going to be dead regardless. So, the scroll by itself is actually just, it doesn't do enough damage to justify having it. So, if you can choose between 3 scrolls, and this is up, don't choose this. Just don't. Next up, we have Ostrich Rider. So, I've placed it in D tier because there are some vaults where you can't actually finish the vaults without having dashes. So, obviously, unless you're using my little exploit, which I will put up there in that video. It has some little timestamps right there. The reason this isn't that good, if you go to boss fights, you can dodge the boss's abilities just by dashing, right? If you have Ostrich Feet, you're going to rely on jumping and just moving around fast. The problem is, you got to look at things like slows. You got to look at projectiles that are instantly going to hit you. So Bandit Tacticians in the 2nd level, they have locking on weapons. You can dash to avoid that damage. If you're just running around, it's still going to lock onto you regardless. So that is why it's placed in D tier. I mean, we're going to have to cut a bit out, but I think that was actually pretty good. What's next? Resolute, Fire, Electricity, and no, it's Lightning, Enthusiast, and Corrosion. Okay. So next up is Resolute. So you get 50% increased movement speed, as well as 25% increased damage when you have 0 shield. The reason it's in situational is because, let's be honest, the main goal of the game is to try to avoid damage. You're not going to intentionally take damage just for a small buff. 25% damage is not that much in a game like this. So I've placed it in situational just for that reason. Then we go on to the Fire Enthusiast. So Fire Enthusiast is situational just in the fact that you apply burn to yourself, and usually by time you've killed an enemy, because burn does more damage to their actual health bar, by the time you've actually killed the enemy, the burn's still going to be on you, which means you're going to be applying damage over time to yourself, and I personally have died quite a few times just from the burn effect from that scroll itself. Now we move on to the Lightning Enthusiast. So Lightning Enthusiast, you apply it to yourself, which means you're going to shred your own shield down. And after that, you do 75% increased lightning damage. Again, problem with that is lightning damage does less to the health bar. And that's the part you're trying to kill. Now, if you have extra lightning damage, yeah, it's cool. But if you're using a lightning gun already, by the time you've applied the electricity to one of the enemy's shields, the shield's already going to be gone. So you're just getting more lightning damage, but you're still using electricity on flesh, which does less damage regardless. So now we go on to the Corrosion Enthusiast. So Corrosion Enthusiast, you apply decay to an enemy, it applies to you as well, which gives you a 50% movement speed debuff. With this scroll, however, it gives you 40% increased movement speed, So therefore, it's going to be 10% movement speed debuff now, and you take 20% reduced damage. It's situational in the fact that you're still going to have a 10% movement speed debuff, which is going to make it a lot harder to dodge things. 10% is a lot of movement speed if you have nothing else. If you just have this scroll just by itself, 10% is a lot. It makes it a lot harder to clear. Now we go on to the Evil Devouring Sword. So 10% increased damage for each cursed scroll you have. Obviously, you're not intentionally picking up cursed scrolls. If you just have this item, you're not going to be picking up cursed scrolls because sometimes the debuffs are worse than the 10% damage you're going to be gaining. Now we'll go on to the Evil's Banishing Talisman, which synergizes perfectly with this, but because we're going off of individuality, if you just have this scroll in your inventory by itself, guess what? It does nothing. There's no purpose of holding on to it. The scroll by itself does literally nothing. We've got the Brutal Fist now. So Brutal Fist is definitely by far one of the most situational items that I have seen. Just in the sense that, so you do 35% increased spell damage and gun damage, but you lose crits. Now, if you think about it, crits are way too big and way too important to be losing. Crit damage is so high compared to a 35% damage increase. If you're going explosions, this is fantastic. But if not, well, guess what? You lose a bucket load of damage, man. It's so much damage. Next up in the situational tree, we have Rock Hard Determination. I know, hot, right? But on a more serious note. So Rock Hard Determination is situational just in the fact that when you're stationary, you're doing more damage. Problem with that is, how many boss fights can you just be like, cool, I'm just gonna chill here and stand still and then shoot. You're constantly moving. If you're using something like a Justice, place it down, stand still, detonate the Justice. That's fantastic. Nothing wrong with that. It's situational though because, again, you're trying to avoid taking damage so you can actually get through the entire clear yourself. Now we move on to the Lightning Shard. So Lightning Shard, you are immune to lightning damage. After taking lightning damage, you're immune to lightning damage for 2 seconds, but you take more from fire and corrosion. Problem with this is, you're still going to be taking lightning damage, but after you take it, then you're immune to lightning damage. So if you've killed an enemy that's just applied lightning to you, your shield's going to be half or a quarter gone already. But on top of that, you're taking increased corrosion and fire damage. Fire damage does way too much to your health bar to want to be taking 50% extra. And that goes the same for Corrosion Shard. So Corrosion Shard, you're immune to corrosion damage, yeah? For 2 seconds. There are 3, maybe 4 enemies in the game that can apply corrosion to you. And yeah, that's cool. It means, yeah, there's low chance for them to apply corrosion. Yeah, cool. But again, the problem is you're going to be taking more fire and lightning damage. Lightning damage going to shred your shield, followed by the fire damage, which is going to absolutely shred your health. We'll move on to Coinshot now. So Coinshot is a very, very situational, just in the fact that you're losing 2 copper every time you shoot, right? So assault rifles, machine guns, machine pistols, you name it, you're going to be losing so much copper. Now, upgrades at the peddler, purchases at the craftsman, they all cost copper, yeah? Well, most of the time. The problem is, if you have no copper to upgrade, you're going to have to rely on enemy drops to give you weapons that are going to be able to scale well into the late game. And if you have no copper to upgrade these weapons, look, you're going to be relying pretty heavily on RNG, comparing to have a weapon you want, where you can upgrade. You're just going to be losing too much ammo. If you're using explosions, guess what? It's fine. 1 shot every, 2-3 seconds? That's fine. But the item by itself, you're going to be losing too much of an advantage by upgrading your weapons to actually, be able to use it well enough. Now we'll move on to elemental power. So, look, the fact that you can't apply elemental effects it's too much of a debuff. If you look at, so obviously they synergize well with each other, and the fact that you got fire and lightning, for example, that makes the enemies attack their friends. You got corrosion and lightning, which applies miasma, which is literally free damage over time that stacks. So if you have like corrosion and lightning stacked on an enemy, it's just going to keep proccing itself. And you're going to have like 13 lightning clouds on one person. It's going to be ticking them down over and over again. That's fantastic. Second boss, full armor, boom. See you later, buddy. Yeah, so the fact that you can't like work around comboing the elements, it makes it, not that great. Now we move on to bloody ammo. So this is a very controversial one, just in the sense that, yeah, cool, I can keep shooting, don't have to reload, that's fine. Problem is, once you start using anything with any sort of decent fire rate, you're going to be killing yourself every single... I have died multiple times just by using bloody ammo. You get down, you're like, okay, cool, I have 8 health left, I've just, killed nearly everything, and then you get shot by the smallest enemy in the game, and you just die, and you're like, okay, well, that was... Yeah, that's problematic. So it shreds your shield as well as your health. It goes through both of them. So the item itself, it is fun. I'm not saying it's not fun to play with. It's so much fun to play with, but you're gonna be killing yourself too often unless you play like super safe, like a little beta male. Let's be honest. Okay, so now we go on to the 2 legendary ones in this tree. We got Spirit Feline. So how that works is you're taking 100% increased damage, so they're doing double damage to you, but you can only die in 11 hits. All right, that took a bit for my brain to process. I forgot. I'm not gonna lie. You can only die in 11 hits. Now you may think, cool, that's actually sick. I can't die. Any form of damage over time, that can also proc that, you know, die in 11 hits. Any traps as well, guess what? You die in 11 hits. Any bosses that have multiple shots, so let's have a look at, what do we got? Second boss that shoots out the big beam that does damage constantly. You're gonna die in 11 shots regardless. So instead of being able to avoid the damage and not die, guess what? You get a burn applied to you. If that keeps ticking, 11, you die. Doesn't matter. So, yeah, it can only do up to 11%. So, not saying that, you know, you're guaranteed to die, but the enemy's damage is quite high scaling, which I believe they're going to be fixing in one of the next patches coming up. Now we move on to Airbag. So, Airbag, you degenerate 2 health per second. And when your shield gets broken, you regenerate all your health back up. It's situational in the sense that you're degenerating health for no reason, right? If you have 100% health, what's the point in degenerating? You're still going to be 100% health when your shield breaks regardless. Yeah, it's cool. So me personally, I just break my shield and then I just wait. Because shield regen's so high, like, you know, what's the point in degenerating health? And then, yeah. So, I mean, the item itself is very situational, just based on the fact that you're degenerating health for no reason. Yeah, you know. Alright, so now we're going to be moving on to the average tier. So these are items that, if you have them, it's nice, but, you know, if you don't have them, yeah, it's not going to make that much of a difference. But they are nice to have. So we're going to be going on to Untold Efforts. So pretty much how this works is you have a 50% chance to double the consumption of your grenade. Then you have another 50% chance for it to do double damage. So generally, it's going to be doing one or the other. It can do both. Obviously, it comes down to RNG. But this is nice to have. But I mean, personally, I don't throw that many grenades. Like, it's not really something that you really remember to do. Taking out the effort side, yeah, it's an average item. So this one here is Perfect Sixth. So pretty much how it works is every 6 shot does 50% increased bonus damage. This is reset when you reload. So this one here is Improved Clip. How it works is you pick up ammo, you get put straight into your magazine instead of your reserve ammo, and you get 25% increased movement speed. Now, this is an average item, just in the fact that, like, if you're picking up ammo and you're full, right? I don't know if it's a bug. It's happened to me a couple times. It doesn't actually go into your reserve ammo. It just tries to keep adding it to your magazine. So it can actually make it so, you know, you don't have any ammo left at all, and you struggle getting any form of ammunition. So this one here, right? Gourmet. It's buns recover full HP. Yeah, it's nice to have, but if you don't have it, it's not gonna, you know, make you run dead. You're not gonna be able to not complete the game. So it's, you know, you can definitely do without this one. So this one here is Elemental Bestowment. How it works is you recover 1% of your max HP and 10 ammo for your equipped weapon when you kill an enemy with an elemental effect. So the problem with that is, in the starting round is really the only round where you're going to be struggling for ammo, unless, you know, you're using like a big hippo or something. And because you don't have any elemental weapons, and as you get lucky with the starting chest, it, you know, like, cool, okay, I get ammo and health. Yay, I'm already full health because I don't like losing my health bar. Losing shields is fine. And I mean, cool, I have ammo, but I need to be able to kill them with an elemental effect chance. So that means you're relying on having a weapon that's going to be applying elemental status. So this one here is Casual Gunmanship. How it works is you get 20% lucky shot chance, but you do negative 20% less damage, weapon damage, not lucky shot damage, weapon damage, if you don't lucky shot. 20% is not high enough to make it so you're losing 20% damage each shot if you're not getting a lucky shot. So, yes, nice to have if you can, you know, get a lucky shot, but the item itself is you are losing damage, so it's average, but it's also good because because lucky shots do 7 times the amount of damage, which that's a lot of damage. So now we have Bullet Bank. So how it works is any ammunition you pick up, it's just going to be converted to whatever weapon you're currently. So you're using special ammo, like for the current weapon you're using, all the ammo you pick up is going to be converted to special ammo. Problem with that is once you hit the ammo cap, guess what? Yay! You get no ammo. Cool. And you have 2 weapons which you want to swap between if you run out of ammo, but guess what? That weapon also has no ammo because it's all converted to the one type. So this is average. Yeah, it's nice to have if you plan on using one weapon for the entire game. But if not, you know, you can definitely do without it. Next up, you have double exhilaration. So this one's like, you know, a little bit quality of life. It's average. I mean, yeah, it is nice to have double grenade capacity, but personally, because the grenade drop is so high when killing an enemy, like the chance for a grenade to drop, you don't need this. Like, you can constantly keep up max grenades. Even having 3 grenades is fine. On top of that, your talent tree. Like, if you want to upgrade all your talents, guess what? You already have an increased grenade capacity. So, you know, it's average. It's bleh, you know? Again, another health-orientated one. So this is bluff, do 25% increased damage when your health is full. Yeah, it's nice to have, but the problem is because you don't have health regen, if you lose any form of health, guess what? You're holding on to a scroll that does nothing for you. Literally does nothing. So I guess it comes down to, yeah, being an average item yet again. Move on to ammo belt now. So this one, it's average, but it's still a nice item. It's still a nice item to have. It doubles your ammo capacity. Again, as I have stated, like I think twice in this video already, you only really struggle with ammo in the starting round. Afterwards, there's enough enemies for you to kill to be dropping the ammo you need. So it's nice to have, but again, it's not a needed item. So this one here is a preemptive strike. So the first shot in the magazine does 50% increased damage. It's nice to have because like 50% increased damage, it's not a huge amount, but it's still, you know, it's extra free damage. If you're using a weapon with low damage though, you know, you're not really going to notice that much of a difference. If you're using single target weapons, so it's fantastic because you're always proccing that 50% increased damage, which is really nice. I personally like this item. I love to use single target weapons. Now we'll move on to Flesh and Bones. So Flesh and Bones is not my choice of items. I won't pick this up. I will always drop this. However, because I wanted to do it so it's not a biased opinion, we did have 3 people like going through all these things. It took us about 1 to 2 hours to actually get all of this onto a little, you know, tier list for you guys. So now we have Flesh and Bones. So Flesh and Bones, pretty much how it works is all your shields are converted into health. So, you know, double your health pretty much and you get 2 health regen. Cool beans. Incredible. Not my item personally, but because I didn't want to make a bias, we had 3 or 4 people look over this, you know, to make sure that we could do it from the item standpoint instead of a person's personal experiences with an item. I hate this item. I would have chucked this bad boy down in D tier, but that's me, okay? So this one here is called Wind Rider. How it works is every time you use 3 dashes, you gain damage reduction. I believe it lasts for 2 seconds. It doesn't actually say that in the description, but, you know, I've played with it. It's nice to have, but having to rely on using 3 dashes, like, as soon as they're up, sometimes you want to save a dash to make sure you can dodge a certain ability. Like, you can definitely get through the game without having this. Like, 110%, like... But it is nice to have. It, you know, free damage reduction. Who doesn't like it? This little prism-looking bad boy is Ninja Invincibility. How it works is, you know, when you don't shoot for each second, you do increased damage, which can go up to 50%. So if you don't shoot something for 5 seconds, then you shoot it, and then you do 50% increased damage. It's meh. Usually, you want to try to kill the enemies as fast as you can so you can avoid taking damage. But if you know, something like a rocket launcher, you know, personally, I don't like it. Again, I would have placed this a lot lower. I would drop this. This is something I would drop or just, you know, forget I even had it. Like, it's nice to have, but again, it's not needed to make sure you can get a perfect run. So this one here is Triple Comeback. It's an average scroll just in the sense that you get a massive debuff. So how it works is you get your shield and health cut by 50%, and then when you die, you get a revive. This happens 2 times. The scroll's destroyed in the process. So it might let you survive a bit longer, but I feel the massive debuff you're getting is so large. Yeah, it disappears once the scroll disappears, but like you're gonna get one shot by a majority of enemies. Like not small mobs, yeah, cool. I get to last a bit longer. If you get one shot by a boss that revives, that happens twice. It's like, okay, cool. I don't need this scroll. I could have just been full health and kept playing the game, but instead you get an instant revive, so it's not bad, but you know, it's not fantastic. I wouldn't put it anything above B. So this one here is Veteran. You get 1 max HP for every enemy you kill within 5 meters. This is fun. It is quite fun to see how much health you can actually get. The item's just average in the sense that usually you are trying to keep your distance, because if you look something like a charger, you know, if you're standing within 5 meters of that bad boy and he hits you, guess what? You're going to get clapped. So it's fun to have, but it's not something that you need to have. Now we have Merciless Assault. So how this one works is, When you hit an enemy for the next 1 second, you do increased damage. This effect can stack. Now, this is average because a lot of weapons, you're going to be hitting an enemy, and by the time you either reload or by the time the bullet travel actually hits the enemy, you know, you're going to be losing the buff. So you're just going to have a scroll that's doing nothing. Like, you hit him once, 10% damage. Yay, cool. If you're using something like a glove, for example, this is going to proc a heap of times. You're going to be doing a lot of extra cumulative damage. But if you have something that shoots at a meh attack speed, you know, it's average. Now, this is personally, obviously, I would have placed this much higher, but I don't want to be biased. Personally, Paranormality is my favorite, one of my favorite items in the game. So your HP's fixed at 1, but you get double shield. The reason I like this item so much is shields have so much regen. If you don't have another item, you have no health regen, right? Shields have regen. So you're pretty much just making your health 1, getting a bunch of shields, and then, like, it's just going to regen before you die again. But it is average just in the fact that, guess what? You don't need it. What a surprise. but personally, I love this one. We've gone to Fire Shard now, or Flame Shard. So you gain immunity to fire damage, but you take increased corrosion and lightning damage. Cool beans. Now, down here, where we have the corrosion and lightning shard, the reason that I have put, not me, but we have put Fire Shard up in the average tier compared to a situational tier is, fire is the most common damage form, right? Everything has red health, but there's more enemies that do fire damage compared to what do electricity and corrosion. So as in average, it is better than C tier because you're going to be you're going to be taking fire damage more than you take of any other element. So becoming immune to fire damage, cool beans. You're going to be burning less. That's facts, okay? So next up we have the Copper Miner. I'm going to move my body for you guys real quick so you can actually see these items. Cool. Where are we at? There we are. Alrighty. So we have Copper Miner now. So pretty much when you kill an enemy that's close to you, it's going to drop double copper. Now this can be fun with synergies, but the item itself you don't need to have. It is nice to have though, just in the sense that, cool, now you can buy, you know, upgrade more weapons, buy stuff from the peddler, all that fun stuff. But you don't need to have the item, like copper is frequent enough. And again, usually you are trying to keep your distance so you're not dying. So, you know, it's nice to have, but yeah, you know, average. So this is another fun one. So Berserk Soul, you get 1% increased lucky shot chance for each % of HP you lose. Now, this is fun. This is really nice. Like, lucky shot chance is so high. Like, damage, sorry. Lucky shot damage is so high. 7 times your current damage. That's a lot. Problem is, think about it like this. If you're taking damage just in the sense that you do more damage, if you get down to, say, 20 health, right? And you have 80% increased lucky shot chance. Cool, you're killing everything. Yeah, you're probably going to be able to kill everything before it can hit you. But if you get hit once, yeah? Like, if you're lowering so you'll have no shields because you're lowering your health to get more lucky shot chance. If you get hit once, you die. And it's like, is it worth risking the entire run just so you can, you know, do a massive number of damage? You know, you really got to balance it out. So it's something you can do without, but it is something fun to have. So this one here is Arms Dealer. So how it works is you take 20% damage reduction. On top of that, you do 30% increased damage reduction for each 100 ammo you use. Now this is good to have, yeah. But if you're using a weapon that fires slow, if you're using a weapon that has a single shot, it's going to take you a long time to get that buff. Like, it doesn't happen fast enough. Like 100 ammo, like, that's a lot of ammo. Unless you're using a big hippo, a laser glove, an assault rifle of any sort, a scalpel. Like, it takes too long for you to get this. So it's nice to have if you have a weapon like that. But if not, like, I have a scroll that's taken me a while. And then, you know, cool. I have a bit of extra damage. Yay. It's not bad, but yeah. So now we talk about Deadly Counter. So how this one works is when you take damage for the next 3 seconds, your next hit will be a guaranteed crit. One hit. Not like for the next 3 seconds you'll be doing crits. Your next single hit for 3 seconds will be a crit. So first of all, you have to take damage. Yeah, if it's a mob, cool. Now you do increased damage because you took like 8 damage from a mob or, you know, something like that. But if it's a boss, you're generally trying to avoid damage to make that happen. So it's nice to have, and being able to be a guaranteed crit without actually having to hit them in the crit spot. Let's be honest, hitting someone in the crit spot, that's not difficult to do, is it? So, you know, it's nice to have, but you don't need it. Yeah. Next one we have in the average tier is Ammo Recoverer. So when you walk a meter, you get 1 random ammo. A single. Not 1%, not 10%, not 5%, not 10 You get 1 ammo for each meter you walk. Okay, so I mean, it's not the greatest thing to have, But if you get the choice to pick it up, I mean, hey, cool, I'll take it. It's not one of the scrolls like some of these ones down here, which my fat thick body's covering. It's not like one of these ones where you're gonna want to drop it so you don't have it. Okay, so it is nice to have. It's cool, a cheeky bit of ammo here and there, but you know, it's it's not going to be one that you're dropping. So next to this, we have Abundant Vitality. How that works is when your shield's recharging, you deal 75% increased damage, which is, yeah, that's a lot of damage. That's nearly double damage, right? But your shield recharges super quick, yeah? And again, you're going to be wanting to avoid taking damage. So it's one of those ones how it's nice to have, and yeah, cool, I love doing nearly double damage, but it's not a big enough thing for you to be like, oh yeah, I'm going to take damage so my shield recharges, then I can time it to do more damage, and I have to concentrate on my shield recharge rate, then I have to hit the boss at the perfect time. Like, so much stuff that you have to take into account for it to be anything above B tier. So now we'll move on to Unfettered Will. So what this does, right, for each 100 copy you have, you deal 3% increased damage. This scales up to 30%. This is nice to have, but the reason it's not an A tier is because you either have to make sure you're holding on to 3,000 copper at all times, so you get the max buff pretty much, or you can have a sporadic amount of damage increase. On top of that, if you're like me, you're going to want to spend your copper, like upgrading weapons, buying stuff from the peddler, because when the peddler has a scroll, you're going to want to buy it, yeah? On top of, you know, yeah, so peddler and craftsman, and then if you have no copper, you don't have a buff, and you have to have 100 copper. So say you just, you know, upgraded all your weapons, right? You have 80 copper, you're getting no damage increase. So now you have a scroll in your inventory that does nothing. Like, so it's good to have, but if you're not somewhat, like, unless you're hoarding your cash, yeah, look, yeah, I don't think it's that good. So now we have Elemental Convergence, which is this bad boy right here. So you do 15% increased elemental damage for each enemy affected by elemental damage. This is nice to have, but if you think about it, you gotta actually apply the elemental status first, right? When most weapons have 25% or under. So you got to take that into account, as well as by the time you've applied an elemental effect, the enemy's going to be nearly dead or dead, right? So, you know, and it is enemies that are close to each other. So if you have a group of mobs, you apply like 5 elemental effects on 5 different enemies. Cool, you do a bunch of extra damage. But if there's one enemy, it's like, okay, well, I'm doing 15% extra damage to this one enemy, and that's it. So, you know, it's, yeah. So, Shrine of Recovery, which is the next one, you regain full health at the end of a stage. It's not a huge thing. It's more quality of life. It's like, cool, I'm at full health. Yeah, synergizing with other things, it's fine. Do increased damage, but having the item by itself, look at the first stage, like, you're not going to take damage between stages because you're shield, right? Unless you're intentionally walking into shots. Yeah, at the end of the boss, you may have taken a heap of damage from the final boss, but guess what? Then you go into the portal, and there's a well there for you to regen your full health. So it's nice to have, but yeah, it's definitely not an item you need to have. Now, the last one in B tier is Fountain of Life. So every time you pick up copper or ammo, you're going to get 1 HP from it, which is, it's nice. Like, you know, it's, yeah, thanks. I'll take that health. Thank you. But again, you're going to be able to clear so easy without having something like this. But obviously, if you get on the ground, you're going to pick it up. It's just nice. It's average. It's, yeah, cool. Thanks, bro. We will be moving on to the A tier now. So the first one in the A tier we have is On the House. Now, you guys might think, oh, cool, that's average. You get the first purchase at a peddler to be free. That's cool. Now, think about this, right? In the talent tree, you have, right, purchases at the peddler cost nothing. Like, you get a single item that costs nothing from the peddler. So, first of all, you're getting a free item. If you have no money, right? You have no money. You have this scroll, and there's, I don't know, say like a super OP scroll in the peddler. Cool. You just got a free scroll for nothing. What do? You did nothing. This is for every single peddler for the rest of the game once you pick this scroll up. So it's not just like, okay, I got a 1 peddler. Okay, cool. Now I lose the scroll. No. For the rest of the game, every peddler you go to will have something for free. On top of that, you can re-roll the peddler, you know, if you have the talent tree. And then you're going to have more chances to get scrolls, because you want to get as many scrolls as you can, because there's as many buffs as you can get. So now we have Elemental Torment. So you do 20% increased lucky shot chance to enemies affected by elements. Guess what, ladies and gentlemen? You can apply elements to bosses and elites. That's right. You can do that. I've tried it. I've done it, actually. 20% lucky shot chance. That's very high. Like, I know I said before it wasn't. Just Get that out of here. For something that has 0 debuffs and it's flat 20% lucky shot chance, that's huge. That's fantastic. If it has a debuff, yeah, I'll chuck it down here near this bad boy, right? Because it doesn't. 20% against elementally affected enemies. You're hitting a boss. Whenever you fight any single boss in there, you're going to keep hitting it over and over and over and over again, which means you're going to keep, adding a chance to proc the elemental effect, which means you're going to be, once you proc the elemental effect, you're going to be doing extra lucky shot chance, which means you're going to be doing more damage and, blah, 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 kill the boss. Yay, clap, clap, good job, team. Now we follow through with Brief Respite. Now, this is a really strong item. The reason it's not in S tier is human error, okay? Not because I didn't want to put it in S tier. So the 4 people I play with, right? None of us ever remember we have this. If you take that account out, you're getting a second of invulnerability, right? Now, so pretty much, if you don't forget you have this item is so strong. You're literally getting invincibility to damage. You avoid all damage. Problem is, sometimes it is a little bit buggy from what I've seen. It sometimes doesn't actually proc, and it's hard to scroll. If you're scrolling to swap your weapons, it is actually quite difficult to swap your weapons, and sometimes it doesn't work. If you're using 1 and 2, I don't know how people use 1 and 2 to swap their weapons, but that's fine. I'm delusional. This is OP. It's just literally, oh, cool. I just took no damage from something that's meant to one-shot me. Fantastic, yeah? Now we go on to Abnormal Speed. This is one of my favorite in the game. I honestly would have put this S tier, but, cool. It is pretty good, though. So how it works is, you get 10% movement speed for each 10% of your shield you have. So if you had 100% shield, guess what, boys? You're moving speedy. That's right. Now, after this is Fast Loader. So this one right here that we're giving a cheeky highlight. Fast Loader is really cool. Like, when you swap your weapon, it instantly reloads. If you're having a weapon that has a massive reload, just swap it, get full reload. This works really well with Brief Respite because you're getting immunity to damage as well as reloading your weapon each time you swap it. So it does work well, but the item by itself is still just fantastic. Now we have Elemental Relic. So pretty much you get 5% increased elemental damage for each enemy you kill with elemental damage. Which is, hey, I love doing increased damage. You burn effects, you do electricity and corrosion, then you apply miasma. That damage over time is going to be stacking and ticking more the more enemies you kill with it. You're going to be doing increased damage. So this one here, Elemental Cube, when you reload your weapon, it applies a random element on this weapon. Now I haven't seen, this hasn't dropped frequently enough for me to see if you have a fire weapon and it rolls electricity on your weapon, if it means you shoot fire and electricity at the same time. I haven't actually had the chance to see or try that because it does come down to picking it up and having, RNG nice. But the good part about this cube is the element that you're applying on, with the cube, that's 50% extra damage. So you're getting a damage buff as well as an element. If you have a weapon with no elemental effect, guess what? Now you get extra damage and you get a free element. Fantastic. Now we have Elite Assassin. So this is really cool because every boss or elite you kill, you do 10% increased extra damage, right? This stacks and you keep it for the entire game. If you get this in the first scroll, every single boss and every elite you kill up to the final boss, you're going to be doing a lot of extra damage. And right next to that one, we have Strategic Advantage. So how this works is when you dash, you get 40% increased movement speed for 3 seconds. This is sick. Personally, I love movement speed builds. It's so much fun to play with movement speed, right? This is going to help you avoid damage. And again, one of the biggest parts of the game is avoiding damage so you don't die, so you can finish the game. So following that, we have Genesis. Now, this is one of my, and I said that a lot about a lot of these scrolls, okay? This is one of my favorite scrolls in the game. You have a 20% chance to add ammo to the magazine, right? Anything with, anything that shoots, which is, every gun in the game, you have a chance to add more ammo. So you can have weapons where you can just go and just hold down left click the entire game because it's a 20% chance. So 1 in 5, ladies and gentlemen, 5 times 20 is 100. You're just going to be able to just constantly keep shooting. Now we have Magic Magazine. So how that works is when you reload, you have a 33% chance to not consume ammo when you reload. Now we have Magic Watch. This is a lot of fun. So you have a 33% chance to reset your primary skill or your dash. So when you press dash, there's a chance that it's going to give it back. There's a 1 in 3 chance you're going to get dash back. When you use your primary skill, there's a 1 in 3 chance you're going to get your primary skill back. On to Silver Medal, alright? So as soon as you kill an enemy or destroy an object, your shield instantly starts recharging. That's fantastic. Shield recharge, just have a little delay, a small delay, but it instantly starts recharging. So say you lose 20 of your shield, guess what? As soon as you kill that enemy that just shot you, you're going to be getting that streak back. So now we have Last Stand. So whenever you lose 20% of your max HP in a single hit, right, it resets your primary skills and your dash, right? It resets your cooldowns, yeah? Now this is a really fun one. It's called Skateboarder. Every time you dash, you refill your magazine. This is sick. Like, you just hold down left click, right? And you just dash. So this one here is persistent. How it works is when you lose 1% of your max HP, you get 0.5% damage reduction. So guess what, ladies and gentlemen? You're going to be much harder to kill when you're lower health. Now we have Reinforced Eggshell. Now I've put this in A tier due to the fact, not me, I'm sorry. I keep forgetting this isn't a biased opinion. So how it works is you take 30% more damage when your shield's down completely, but you take 30% less damage when you have any shield. Even if you have one shield, you're taking 30% less damage, right? Which is fantastic. Yes, there is a risk and reward that you have to kind of level out, but because health doesn't have a recharge rate, you're going to be taking more damage anyway because, you know, it's health and you're not going to be regenning it, but your shields have regeneration. So you're going to be taking reduced damage every time you have any shield. Like I said, even one shield, you're going to be taking less damage. So now we have Yin and Yang. So every 12 seconds, they swap between Yin and Yang. When you're in Yang, you do 50% increased damage, sick, free damage. But when you're in Yin, you do 20% less damage. So you do lose a little bit of damage, but 12 seconds isn't really that long. And 20% damage won't be that noticeable, especially if you are in the later game. You're going to be doing bulk amounts of damage anyway. But the 50% damage is stupidly noticeable. Like, you will know. You will know. Now we'll move on to Heavy Shield. So you get a 10% movement speed debuff, but you have a 50% chance to avoid normal damage. So any enemy that's not elemental, you have a 50% chance to avoid the damage they do to you. Gone to Realm of Corrosion now. So how this works is every 10 seconds, you'll shoot out a big AoE corrosion little ring thingy, which can apply elemental status. I believe it doesn't say how much, but I'm fairly certain that a lot of the time it will apply it. I don't know what the elemental effect chance is, but I know that it does apply it quite frequently. Now that goes for the same with the electricity and the fire, blazing hoop. I forgot the name of this one for the life of me. But the really cool thing about these, right? You can apply the dual effects. So corrosion and electricity, for example, applies to the poison cloud, yeah? You can apply that with these rings. If you have 2 of these rings, you're going to be applying like a cool effect every single time you're doing it. So flowing time is really strong. So you reduce all remaining cooldowns by 1 second for each enemy you hit. Now we have Sanguine Relic, which is one of the other guys I play with. It's one of their favorite runes. So scrolls, not runes. My bad. Sorry, wrong game. So how it works is you take 50% increased damage, but you get 5% lifesteal. Now, 5% lifesteal in this game feels like a lot. I guess that's because the damage numbers are quite high. But you also need to think about it. You're taking 50% increased damage. So whenever you're not hitting an enemy, right? Say you have a close range weapon. If something hits you, you're going to be taking 150 damage. So say 100, for example. You're going to be taking 150 damage instead of 100. And if you only have 150 health, see you later, alligator, because you decided to have lifesteal. Now we have Elemental Weave, which is sick. Every time you swap your weapon, whatever elemental effect you have on your weapon will be guaranteed for the next 3 seconds. So this is one of my favorite because I am a very shield-oriented player when it comes to, well, every single one of my runs. I try to look for shields. So you lose 75% of your max health, but you get to do 75% increase. So you increase damage. So you nearly get to do double damage, right? Just for losing health. Now for me, right, I wasn't going to do any synergies in this, but, you know, none of the boys are here, so we're fine. So if you get shielding, right, and your HP's fixed at 1, yeah? Guess what? You get no debuff. It instantly goes into an S tier item if you have this shielding, yeah? Now, I'm sure you guys have been waiting for this. It's been a long journey, but we're in the S tier, and then after this, we got a cheeky little surprise, which I did promise you at the start of the video. We have the S tier, right? So we have Snow Boots, so you're immune to all slows, every slow, which synergies really well with some other stuff. And guess what? You take 50% less damage from traps, so you're gonna be dying a lot less in those vaults. I know all of you are dying in vaults. Don't lie to me. I know you are. We'll move on to now at Advanced Joggers, so you get 50% dash cooldown, which is OP, because dashing, guess what? You get to avoid damage when you dash. And again, talking about dashes, you have propulsion device. This gives you 3 charges of dash. These two, if you have these two, man, you're literally just spamming shift. Like, you know, watch out for those sticky keys, boys, because it's going to be popping up. And now you move on to Devil's Covenant. So, this is just blown out of proportion, delicious item, okay? It is an S tier. All of us agreed. I think this is the first item that we agreed that all of us agree with, if that makes sense. We all wanted it in S tier. So, you lose 75% of your health. Wait, you don't lose max health, right? And guess what? It regens and comes back. So you don't, the only risk you're having, right, is you lose 75 health. See you later. Okay, cool. Guess what? You pick up a button, you get a bit of health back. You have life still, you get a bit of health back. You kill the boss, go in between stages, pick up a well, you're full health back. And, ready, wait, now you get to hear the buff. It doubles your current copper, right? So if you have 3,500 copper, guess what? You now have 7. Stupidly large amount of copper, right? Then, for every copper you pick up, guess what? It's also doubled. Your boy is gonna be rich. Now we have a Final Judgment, another normal one that's in the S tier. Reason for this is you execute enemies from 20% HP, mid-air strike. So every time you jump, you do 50% increased damage. Now we have Flowing Wind. This one is definitely an S tier item, just in the sense that the faster you move, the less damage you take. That's all I have to say. Now we have Lifesaver. Alright, so how this one works, right? When you are about to take fatal damage, when you do take fatal damage, your HP gets fixed to 1. So you have no shields, you have no HP for 5 seconds. If you kill an enemy within that 5 seconds, which you should be able to do, right? You will recover 50% of your max shields, 50% of your max HP. Now we have Deft Hands, right? So this is sick. I love this item. Every time you kill an enemy or destroy an object for the next 2 seconds, you don't consume ammo. Now we have Giant Slayer. Now this is sick. I love this item. You have a 10% chance to do 15% of the enemy you're hitting's current HP. Obviously, it does only go up to 2,000 damage. Now we have safety measures. So, this one baffled my brain a little bit when I first read it, but, well, I struggle, let's be honest. How this works is, if you use dash within 1 second of taking damage, all the damage that was dealt to you, 30% of that will be recovered as HP. This one here, Lightless Shield, this is a no-brain S tier. So every 10 seconds, you get a stack of Lightless Shield. You can only have up to 3 stacks stored. But when you get hit by damage, one of those stacks is consumed. So say you get 1 shot, for example. If you have a stack of this, it takes all that 1 shot damage, right? And then just goes, see you later. Yeah, I don't want that, thanks. We good. Now we have Phantom Skin. This is one of my favorites because, as I've told you multiple times, I love shielding. So, every 10 seconds, you get a stack. When you take damage, a stack's consumed, you get 30% of your max shielding back as shields, because max shielding. So pretty much, you're just going to keep getting shields when you get hit, which is nice. Again, it's free shield. Why are you going to turn that down? Merciless Assault, I think. Merciless Assault, maybe? Merciless Strike. So Merciless Strike, this one up here, is phenomenal. So on crit, you get 50% increased lucky shot chance, right? So you're pretty much going to be doing crit on top of the bonus crit damage and the 7 times multiplier from the lucky shot. So much damage. But if you do a normal hit, you have a 50% less chance to proc a lucky shot. So what I'm saying is don't be bad and don't miss your crit strikes, okay? Now we have Golden Shield. Recover 15% of your max shields when you dash. So now we have Speedy Pursuit, which is 50% lucky shot chance for the next 2 seconds after using dash. So get lots of dashes and do lots of lucky shots. So this one's dumb. It's penetration bullet. So enemies have shields, enemies have armor, right? Guess what? You have this. They don't have that stuff. I mean, yes, it doesn't apply to bosses or elites, so you can't just shred through first boss and second boss and yeah, well, that's it, because last boss has red health. But, so any enemy with a shield or armor, you do damage directly to their health when you crit them. And another dumb one sitting right next to it, ladies and gentlemen, Hawkeye Sight. So you do 200% increased crit damage. Let me just soak that in, right? Soak that. It's not hard to hit crits. In fact, it's super duper easy. Yes, you lose 50% damage when you're not hitting a weak spot, yada, 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 but 200% crit damage. I think I know what I like. Thank you very much. So now Dual Edge. Now, it's kind of a high risk, high reward, but I mean, the pros definitely outweigh the cons. So for each enemy kill, guess what? You get 1% increased damage. Yes, you also take an extra 0.5% increased damage, right? But I mean, I would rather 200 enemies, guess what? 200% increased damage. Sick. Clapping cheeks yet again. This one's sick. Backup shield. You recover 40 shield as soon as the shield gets dropped. So, again, free shielding, as well as technically it makes you tankier because, you know, you have more shield when you lose shield. So this is why I like to say, right? This is why I like to say, keep your distance. Deflection shield. You take 90% increased damage within 4 meters of an enemy, but you take 90% less damage when you're 4 meters away from an enemy or more. And now for the final scroll, okay? Advanced Depot. This is so much fun. I can honestly say I've had the most fun with this scroll here. Reason for it, yes, you lose 15% of weapon damage dealt. Yeah, that kind of sucks, cool beans, but guess what? You're going to be able to cancel out the reload part of your weapon and just keep holding down left click. Yeah, left click. I was like, wait, do I right click? No. So how it works is you lose 15% weapon damage, but you use your reserve ammo instead of your magazine ammo. Now, look, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It took me a long time to do and a lot of records. Okay. Make sure you subscribe. If you don't agree with anything I said, look down there where I'm pointing, right? There's a comment section. Hit me up. I will reply. Make sure you like the video. Make sure you subscribe. Yeah. Do that, thanks. But also, I will now give you guys that secret little surprise that will change your life, that you guys are doubting it's going to change your life, but you're like, oh my goodness, this guy's a freak of nature, Alpha Chad. Okay, right now. So, that's right, different shirt, different day, recorded, that's right. So, that's right, I got a different shirt on because it's a different day. Yeah, you didn't expect that. Alright, so the ultimate secret, okay, that I'm letting you guys in on, alright? I guarantee you maybe like 0.01% of the population know this, right? Did you know you watching this video right now can actually trade in your cursed scrolls at the red chests? So when you go up to a red chest and it says give one occult scroll for gold, or give one occult scroll for another, I don't know, scroll, you do that. You can get, because a red scroll is classified as an occult scroll. I was going to do a video and record it, but I played about 11 games in a row and I didn't get it to happen once, okay? But all I'm saying is if you get a red scroll, a cursed scroll, just give it away at the next chest you go to. It's not that hard. Alrighty, guys. Peace!